He said it so casually, like it meant nothing. "You're not doing enough anymore, Harper." "I'm tired." I stood in our small kitchen, the smell of coffee still warm in the air, holding the utility bill I'd just paid that morning. Outside, the snow along the Vermont woods shimmered pale gold in the sunlight. 6 years. 6 years of covering every expense, rent, groceries, his endless projects. And now this man, the one I'd fed, housed, and believed in, told me I wasn't doing enough. He didn't even look at me when he said it. He just scrolled through his phone like breaking me down was another item on his to-do list. I wanted to scream, to throw that bill in his face. But instead I laughed, soft, bitter, exhausted. "You want space? You want freedom?" I asked quietly. "Fine, you'll have both." Because what he seemed to forget, what he never cared to learn, was that the house he lived in, ate in, slept in, didn't belong to him. It was mine, my inheritance, my name on every document, every mortgage payment, every repair. Tomorrow morning, he'd wake up to a door that no longer opened for him. Freedom, delivered exactly as he asked for it. Cold, silent, and final. My name is Harper Lane, and I live in Maple Hollow, Vermont, a quiet town tucked between pine forests and half-frozen lakes. People here still wave at strangers, still know who baked which pie for Sunday church. My house, the one Eli now pretended to own, used to belong to my grandparents. It's old, blue-gray, with a creaky porch and a view of the woods that look endless in winter. When my grandparents passed, I moved back, thinking I'd start over in peace. Then I met Eli Turner. He was charming in that harmless, hopeful way. He talked about dreams and purpose and finding meaning. I thought that was brave. I'd just come out of a long, practical relationship, the kind that dies slowly under the weight of routine. So Eli's passion felt like oxygen. When he lost his job, I let him move in temporarily. When his new ventures failed, I said it was okay. When he promised to pay me back someday, I smiled and believed him. 6 years passed like that, with me working double shifts and him jumping from one fantasy to another. There was the podcast, the YouTube channel, the NFT investment. Each new obsession lasted just long enough for him to blame someone else when it fell apart. I knew what people would say, that I should have left long ago. But love, real or not, makes you foolishly patient. You tell yourself he'll change, that loyalty will be rewarded, but love without balance turns into charity. And I was done giving handouts. It started small. Eli became different. Quieter, distant, but meaner too. Like someone who'd convinced himself he was better than the life he had. He'd look around the house with this sneer, muttering things like, "This place is too small for my ideas," or, "I can't breathe here, Harper." You wouldn't understand. At first I brushed it off. He got moody before every new project, but this time it felt off. He was texting constantly, staying out late. When he came home, he'd smell like cheap wine and perfume. I asked, "Is there something going on?" He smiled, the kind of smile that means you don't deserve an answer. "Harper, not everything's about you." The night he broke up with me, he sat at the kitchen table like he was giving a press conference. "I think we should end this," he said, voice calm, rehearsed. "You don't do enough around here. I carry all the emotional weight." I almost laughed. "You don't even carry your own laundry." He looked offended, like I'd insulted a great artist. "See, that's exactly what I mean. You're negative. You drain me, and that was it." 6 years reduced to an excuse he probably read off some therapy blog. When he told me I should go stay with my mom in Burlington for a while, that's when it clicked. He wasn't just ending things, he was taking things. He thought the house was his. I didn't argue. I just nodded and went upstairs. The quiet that night wasn't grief. It was awakening. The kind that whispers, "You've been asleep for too long." The next few days felt surreal. Eli stayed, like nothing had changed. He rearranged furniture, tossed my old rugs, talked about repainting our living room. He called it a fresh start. I called it delusion. Then one afternoon, a knock at the door. I opened it to find a woman, young, glossy hair, big smile, holding a bottle of red wine. "Hi, I'm Lila. Eli told me all about you." I didn't need an explanation. Her hand on his arm said everything. I watched her walk through my house, admiring the walls, the furniture I'd bought, the view I'd worked for. Eli guided her like a realtor giving a tour. "This is my office," he said, pointing to the spare room filled with cables and empty soda cans. "It's where I do most of my creative work." That word, my, echoed like a siren in my skull. That night, after she left, he said, "Lila will be around more often. I hope you can be mature about this." I smiled, and it terrified him. "Of course," I said. "Take all the space you need." The next morning, I called a locksmith. By the time Eli woke up, every lock in the house was changed. He came down, rubbing his eyes. "The front door's stuck." "No," I said, sipping coffee. "It's locked." "I changed the locks this morning." His face drained of color. "You can't do that." "I already did," I said. "And since the house is legally mine, you have until tonight to leave." He sputtered, begged, shouted, but by sundown, his things were packed. When he left, I handed him his gaming chair. "Don't forget this," I said. He didn't reply. The door closed behind him, and for the first time in years, the silence felt like peace. I thought that was the end of it. But some men can't stand losing control, especially over the person who once believed in them. 3 days after Eli left, I got a call from Caleb, a mutual friend. He sounded uneasy. "Harper, I'm not sure how to say this, but Eli's been telling people some things about you." My stomach sank. "What things?" Caleb hesitated. "He's saying the house was really his. That you kicked him out unfairly. That you tricked him into signing something." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I had no other reaction left. Eli, a man who couldn't even fill out a W-2 form, was suddenly a legal expert. I asked Caleb to send me screenshots. What I saw made my skin crawl. Social posts, texts, whole stories. He'd built a narrative where he was the victim, where I was some manipulative woman who took advantage of his kindness. To his family, he said we'd been basically married, that he helped build the house. To our friends, he said I went crazy after the breakup. To strangers online, he painted himself as a broke artist ruined by a cold-hearted ex. I didn't explode. I didn't post a rebuttal. I just gathered facts, deeds, mortgage records, receipts. That night, I sent a group message, just setting the record straight. The house is in my name. Eli never contributed a cent. Attached are the documents. Within a day, his little story started unraveling. People he thought were on his side began forwarding him my message. His own cousin commented, "Bro, you didn't even pay the Wi-Fi bill." And for the first time, Eli went quiet. The silence from him felt better than revenge. Because truth, when it arrives, doesn't knock. It breaks the door down. But Eli wasn't done humiliating himself. He needed a new stage. A week later, Nora, my sister, texted me a link. "Is this your Eli?" It was a GoFundMe page titled "Help Eli Reclaim His Home from a Manipulative Ex." He posted pictures of my house, my porch, even my grandparents' garden. The caption read like bad fiction. "I poured my savings and soul into building a home with the woman I loved. She stole it, leaving me homeless. Please help me rebuild my life." He'd raised $700. $700 of pity built on lies. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I sent an email to GoFundMe with copies of the deed, bank statements, and photos. By the next morning, the campaign was gone. By the next week, so was Eli's last shred of credibility. Mutual friends stopped responding to him. His own parents told him to grow up. Someone spotted him living out of his car near the gas station just off Route 22. And me? I started breathing again. I repainted the living room, light sage green, like my grandmother had it. I bought new curtains, new dishes, even new wine glasses. For the first time in years, the house didn't feel heavy. I realized that what I'd lost wasn't love. It was the version of myself that believed endurance equaled devotion. That night, I sat by the fire, glass of wine in hand, and whispered to no one, "You can't lose something that was never yours." And I finally slept through the night. Spring came late to Vermont that year. The snow melted slower than usual, like the world itself was hesitant to let go of winter. I ran into Paula, Eli's mom, at the local market. She looked older, worn down. "Harper," she said softly, "he's still not facing reality." She told me Eli had shown up at their house, demanding money to fight for what's rightfully his. He had papers, made up contracts, claiming I promised him half the property. Paula said they refused. "He called us traitors, said we were taking your side." Her voice broke. "He's sleeping in his car outside our driveway. We don't know what else to do." For a moment, I felt sorry for him. Not as a lover, not even as a person, just as a cautionary tale. "Maybe he needs to lose everything," I said quietly. "Some people only learn when the noise stops." Later that evening, I found an envelope slipped under my front door. No name, just a note inside. "I'm sorry. I couldn't stand watching you live better without me." I stood there for a long moment, reading it under the yellow porch light. Then I folded it, walked to the fireplace, and fed it to the flames. The paper curled, darkened, and vanished. And for the first time, I didn't feel the need to rescue him. That night, I stepped outside. The air smelled like thawing earth and pine. The stars hung low, like they'd come down just to witness the end of something. I whispered almost to myself, "You wanted freedom, Eli. Now you have it." And I meant it. People think revenge means hurting someone back. But real revenge is peace. It's waking up, making coffee, and not thinking about them once. Eli wanted freedom. Now he had it, parked behind a diner, living out of the same car I helped him buy. He wanted control. Now he was alone with nothing left to control. I didn't destroy him. He did that himself. All I did was stop saving him. Sometimes I still walk through the house and hear echoes, not of him, but of me. The me who used to apologize for existing too loudly. The me who thought love meant carrying someone else's weight. That woman's gone. Now there's only me, calm, steady, whole. Outside, the wind moves through the pine trees like a long exhale. And I think maybe for the first time, this silence is mine. I once saved him from his own failures. This time I saved myself from him.